Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Khaosity here, and welcome back to the channel. Alright, now we got us another Kishimoto Twitter Saga video today. Alright, man's been going crazy on Twitter. What can I say? But he has he has been talking about some details regarding Ouranos Island and how the island really isn't as fleshed out as it could be. Alright, but before we get into it, if you're new, subscribe, and if you like the video, drop a like. But without any further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. Alright, so this whole discussion got started off by a Sonic Series fan on Twitter, and he asked, "Hello Kishimoto, I'm sorry, but let me ask you a question. Why was Kronos divided into 3 islands? As you know, Kronos, Rhea, and Ouranos Island were originally one island, and he wants to know why they got split up." If we go to Kishimoto's reply here, he says, "Hello, as you might guess, Kronos was originally an island. Back when we did playtests in the early stages of productions, we received a lot of feedback from testers saying that the island was too big and it was boring, all the time grass and boring. So basically the playtesters just didn't like the aesthetic of the island. They said it was too big to traverse, which honestly isn't true, because you can download the beta map and play through it. You can traverse it pretty fast once you get your speed leveled up a bit. But I mean, even with level 1 base speed, like, just get the power boost. It's not that hard to traverse that island. But maybe early stages of production, maybe they didn't have the power boost in the level up system and all that. Maybe it was just one solid speed that you could just play with. Kishimoto then goes on to say various modifications and ideas were incorporated to solve this problem. But one of them was to make the island smaller and move to the next island before getting tired of the scenery of the first island, to play and enjoy the scenery. Translation sucks. I decided to divide Ouranos Island into parts so that players wouldn't get too bored with the look of it, not just the gameplay. Okay, so that kind of clears up one of the misconceptions with, or as to why the islands were split up. A lot of people think it was because of time constraints. It actually wasn't because of time constraints. It was actually because of the playtesters. The playtesters didn't enjoy the island. They didn't enjoy the look of it, at least for too long, and it was too big to traverse. So to combat that, they split it up and made you go on to the next island fairly quickly than what was originally intended from the sounds of it. With these fixes, we were able to get a positive evaluation in the next playtest, and it became the current shape where the island becomes wider as you go further. However, as everyone has pointed out here, I also agree that the climax of Ouranos Island, which is the largest island, lacks excitement and becomes repetitive. We are currently working on an update for this issue as well." Great news, solid news. Alright, so as we know, Ouranos Island is actually pretty repetitive, because all it consists of really is collecting vault keys and memory tokens to progress through the island. There isn't really that much else of anything to do, okay, other than like combat. But I wonder in what ways he's actually gonna flesh out Ouranos Island. One way that I can think of right off the top of my head is adding some kind of Coco mission. As we know, Ouranos Island had a Coco missions for with Amy, you know, the mother and her lost child, and the Coco who wanted to find their one true love. Tails, or Chaos Island, had the engineer Coco, needed parts for his team, for his battalion, his platoon. And on Ares Island with Knuckles, you had the Coco soldiers. So each island had its own Coco storyline that you could follow and needed to do to gain a Chaos Emerald. Whereas on Ouranos Island is just collect vault keys, get all 6 emeralds until you get that final emerald from Eggman, and then you fight Supreme. So in terms of Ouranos Island being repetitive, that is very true. So the fact that they are currently fleshing that out, it makes you wonder what this is actually going to look like. Plus, this is not the only thing happening to Ouranos Island. I mean, as we know from before as well, Kishimoto plans on changing the boss in some way, and I think the final boss, because as you know, the final boss is completely just mid. All right, some galaxy shooter BS, a mini game for a final boss. It doesn't compute, man. It doesn't compute. All right, so we already know that we're getting changes to the final boss. So Ouranos Island is getting a complete overhaul in terms of its gameplay. It's getting a complete overhaul. So I'm actually very excited to see what they cook up. Anyways, that's gonna be it from me. Ouranos Island is getting a complete overhaul. The island itself is gonna get fleshed out so it's not as repetitive. The final boss is getting changed. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comments below. But until the next time, peace.